Hello and welcome back to Raise the Trident. My name is Jake, and today we got another guest here, Ben Ranieri from the Sea Level Substack. He's been on the channel quite a few times at this point, and it's always nice to have him on when we're talking about the Mariners and what's going on. So, first of all, Ben, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. It's getting to crunch time with the Mariners, so every game is insanely important right now. As of when we're recording this, because this will be out on the 10th, probably around like noonish. It is currently the 9th at 4 o'clock, so it's before the game two against the Cardinals. So, have to put that disclaimer there that everything we talk about is not including what happens in game two against the Cardinals, because we don't know that yet. We don't have a crystal ball here. So right now the Mariners are sitting at 76 and 68. They're 2 games back of the Astros in the AL West. And for the wild card three, they are in that slot. They are 1.5 games above the Rangers, 2.5 games above the Guardians, 3 games above the Royals, and 4.5 games above the Rays. And we have 18 games left on the season. So it is a tight race for that wild card spot. And it's still a tight race for the division as well. With it being crunch time, how are you feeling about the M's right now?
Um, I feel like I don't know, man. It was obviously a wild time, um, where they were just struggling so bad, and it was like it's very clearly like there's nothing that you can point to. Like everything was bad, and it's just like one of those points in the season. But I honestly like never really. Um, I don't tweet as much during those times because it's just like I'm not like super negative, and I don't like to, you know, we know it's bad, we can see it. Like I don't need to tell you that it's even worse or bad. Like so,
Yep.
I just didn't say as much. But to me, it was like I felt like what was happening around them was equally as important to what was going on with them, right? Like everybody else was so aggressively mediocre during that period where they sucked that it like really didn't end up being that catastrophic. I mean, the Rangers, they were very they were playing good ball, but at the same time, like they lost Corey Seager, they lost Marcus Simeon, they lost Nathan Eovaldi. So like they're dropping like flies as they're playing good ball, but it's like how long can they keep that up? So um, I honestly feel like the mediocrity of the league as a whole has given me kind of more confidence in this team that their highs are as high as anybody's. Their lows are very, very low, but that's kind of the roster that they've created when the pitching staff isn't going to shove all the time. The offense is going to be very streaky. That's just kind of how it's kind of baked into this recipe that they've created with this roster. So no, overall, I haven't really felt terrible about their playoff odds at any point. I kind of felt like they were going to start turning it around, and obviously there's still a long ways to go, and they've proved me wrong before in September when I've been optimistic. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with them right now.
Yeah, normally people describe watching the Mariners throughout the season as one of the worst roller coasters ever. You're going to have really tremendous highs and you're going to have really tremendous lows. I think it's interesting how I feel like they saved the extremes for these last 2 months. Like we have had the huge high of that road trip during Ichiro retirement weekend. We had the worst road trip probably since literally last year, right after that. And then this road trip recently went a little bit better, but it was still pretty bad, especially in that, stretch in Tampa Bay, where to the point where we had to, I guess, get the mustaches going. We had to get witches casting spells on us. We had to really go in our bag for the superstitious like things to turn this team around. However, like you said, it's been interesting because watching the games every night, you feel like the world is crumbling, right? Like, and a lot of this has to do with the Mariners fans having gone through the disappointment the last 2 seasons, especially the way that they came about. It was these big September collapses, and then they lose out by 1 game. And so as soon as they start going on a losing streak, of course it's at this point natural for your mind to go, they're doing it again. and then they either have a super good homestand, or like this road trip where it was really bad, they actually really got bailed out by all the teams around them kind of sucking. And yeah, it was really interesting. I don't remember. I know Ty from Locked On like tweeted something where he's like, the road trip was this bad, but they still only like lost half a game on the Astros and only like a full game on
Yeah.
the wild card or something crazy like that, even though it was at, a 3 and 7 road trip or whatever. And yeah, it's just crazy because now we're 18 games left. We are at home right now. We won game one against the Cardinals, and you're going against the Cardinals for 2 more games. You have the Angels for 4, which I'm never going to get my hopes up with any Angels series because you just never know what's going to happen with that. But then after that is a pretty much season defining road trip, going to Kansas City for 3 and then Houston for 3. So out of that road trip, which series do you think is the most important to the Mariners? Do you think it's the series against the Royals or the one against the Astros?
Uh, it. I guess it kind of depends where you're at with expectation wise for the organization. You know, I think with the Astros, like you can go in and win that series, but it's not necessarily gonna, you got to take care of the business around that series, like the games before it and the games after it, still to win the division, right? And even if you do win the division, there's still a chance that you just play the Astros in the first round, anyways. Yeah, you'd be playing them at T-Mobile Park, and so
Yep.
that's an advantage. But it's not the same team. I'm not trying to say that it is, but I mean, they played an 18-inning playoff game that I was at, and they didn't score any runs at home. So it's like
Yeah.
you play who you play in the playoffs, and that's really all that it is. I kind of would lean towards like beating the Royals because it's like just get in the dance, and be my kind of philosophy on this at this point is like I don't really know what to make of like any part of them. They don't play well on the road. Um, they somehow are hitting well at home, but that's like a relatively small sample size, I guess, since the deadline. And so I don't really know what to make of all these things. So I'm kind of just like at the point where I'm like, get in the dance and be playing your best baseball at the end of the year. And then like, just see what happens, man. Like I'm not super like, line up your rotation. You want to be able to line up your rotation. Just like be playing your best ball at the end of the year, I think is really all you can ask for. So I think, would you really feel that bad or would you really feel that good about it if they like lost the series to the Royals and then swept the Astros? Like, I don't know. Cause it kind of just depends, like I said, what happens before and what happens after. So at this point, I think it's important that I would say lean towards just killing the Royals, killing them, getting them out, kind of solidifying your spot in the dance, and then just trying to play your best ball down the stretch before you get into the playoffs. Because you never know what can happen if you get hot. And this team has the ability to get really, really hot with some of the pieces that are on this roster from the Randys and the Julios and the Genos and those guys. They have guys that can just, and Cal, guys that can just go nuclear. So yeah, in a roundabout rambling answer, I would say probably just killing the Royals. I mean, my answer would probably be both, but killing the Royals would probably be the way that I would lean.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you need to win both series regardless. However, I saw someone pose that question recently, so I thought it was an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to really assess it because one, I wanted to look at both teams' schedules after that series to kind of get an idea, like if any of them are playing like total killers after, then that makes sense, right? Like if you can kill them and then, they play some super tough teams. However, strangely enough, like they both have basically the same exact opponents right after. So the Royals play you for 3, play the Mariners for 3, and then they play the Blue Jays. So there is that, right? But then they play the Angels
Again,
and
not
Athletics
just
on the.
The Astros play the Blue
Yeah.
Jays again afterwards?
Sorry,
Or
this is the Royals. So this is the
oh, this
Royals.
is the
So
Royals. Okay.
yeah, so the Royals play us for 3. They play the Blue Jays at home for 3. Then they have an off day, and then 3 at Angels and 3 at Athletics to end the season. The Astros are playing 3 against the Rangers at home before our game. They have a day off before our series. Then we have 3 against us, and then they have the day off. Then they're at Athletics, and then they're at Angels. So they're literally just
Yeah.
swapped. So it's just so for me, I feel like the kind of the same thing as you. Like, just get in the postseason, because the postseason, any team, it's whoever gets whatever team gets the most hot is going to make the run, and it, at that point, it's really anyone's game. As long as you get into the postseason, there's really, in my opinion, no like favorites to win it all.
No,
Like, it is,
not this year.
especially the American League too, right? Like, you can absolutely beat the Red Sox, you can beat the Yankees, you can beat the Astros, you can beat any team that ends up making it. So just get in. Obviously, I would love to have home field advantage and love to watch games in Seattle take place. But at the end of the day, like, if that doesn't happen, I'm just going to be happy to be watching October baseball, like meaningful October baseball. Like, that's
So
most important.
yeah, I think honestly, my take would be like, if you're gonna win the division, you're probably gonna win it this week. Like, if you can go
Yeah.
6-1 or 7-0 this week, like the Astros are. I don't remember exactly they're playing. I know they play the Blue
So
Jays.
they're playing the Blue Jays right now in Toronto for 3, and then they're in Atlanta for 3.
Yeah. Okay. So like maybe they go 2-4 this week, and you go 6-1 or 7-0. Maybe, I mean, probably not, but
Yeah.
maybe that's the case. And then obviously you can't pee your pants when you play Houston next week. You can't get swept by them. But I think, like, if you're going to go out and you're going to do damage to make a serious division run, which is what the goal of this organization should be, like in the grand scheme of things, competitively in the postseason, is just get your foot in the door, get in the dance, and be playing your best ball at the right time. But at the same time, it's like the goal of this organization should be to win the division. And I think if you're going to win the division, it is taking care of the Cardinals and the Angels, who have nothing to play for at this point. So, yeah, that's kind of where I would land with that. But yeah.
Yeah, I still would say Royals is the more important one. However, I mean, once again, just win those series and you're going to be in a really good spot, regardless. So I'll take whatever we can get. So to move on to from just the general team stuff, we have a few players I wanted to talk about. The first one being Josh Naylor. And I know you're a big fan of Josh Naylor. All of us are big fans of Josh Naylor right now. Specifically, we're going to talk about him in the sense of off-season priority, like what is the priority of re-signing him or trying to get a new contract for him. So I want to focus a little bit on some of the splits that I've been seeing. So first of all, he's been really bad on the road, 46 WRC plus with Seattle on the road. However, there was a quote going around that he said it's actually, I think it's easy to hit in Seattle, and he would be right, at least for him. So right now with Seattle in his games, he's slashing 352, 417, 667 for a 1.083 OPS and a 211 WRC plus in his games at T-Mobile Park. So in general, he's posting a 115 WRC plus among the Mariners. So really, for me, it's just like, I mean, if he can clean up those road stats, I mean, he is literally the team MVP at that point. But talking about him in an off-season purview, where would you put him as far as off-season priorities to sign him when we get to the winter?
Okay, so I think I talked about this a little bit. I know we're going to talk about it. All of us are going to talk about it so much once the season's actually over. But I've kind of been trying to scratch the surface of it just a little bit on my show recently. To me, first of all, I thought he was trolling when he first got traded to Seattle, because he's just like a very like straightforward dude. So I thought he was trolling when he was like, "I love hitting here" or whatever he said. I think that's
It's
easy to see
easy to
the
hit
ball
here.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
like easy to see the ball here, all that stuff. I thought he was trolling at first. Maybe that's like him playing mind tricks on himself, trying to believe that it's easy to hit. But he's performed, and I think for me, one thing I'm really interested to see that like not a ton of people are talking about, and at least in the long term, a lot of people are talking about in the short and maybe medium term, is what is the actual deal with that shoulder? He's a tough guy. But like if he's got some sort of labral tear that needs to be cleaned up in the offseason, again, that's going to lower his market league wide. But I would be very reluctant to probably pay him if that is the case, because guys coming off of, I mean, you can look around the league a little bit, like, and I'm not speculating. Again, I don't want to speculate that that is what he's going through and stuff like that. He's been dealing with the shoulder for a couple of weeks now, and even I think even back to his days with the Diamondbacks. So it's been going on
Yep.
for a while. If that is some sort of thing that's going to be a surgery in the offseason, which I don't know, again, I'm not speculating that. But if it is, like, guys have not come back super great recently. Or, I mean, Shohei Ohtani is a little bit of a different ball game there, but like, Ha-Seong Kim, Michael Conforto, like guys that have had catastrophic seasons coming off of that. Again, that might not be the case, but like if we just assume general health, or that he's going to be ready for spring training, he's going to be ready to roll, I would put him at the top. I think he's like in a, and I've been saying this for years, looking ahead to his free agency, that he's going to hit the market at an age where he would be a guy that I would pay, right? Like, I think he's going to be 28 when he hits the market. And relative to the other guys that you might be considering, a Gino or a Polo, and I don't know who else is going to be on the market that would be of interest to them. He's the number one guy. You have nobody behind him that's close or interesting, unless Las Montes starts playing first base or something like that. So yeah, he'd be the guy going into the offseason. Like, I think first base contracts are something that they were clearly somewhat interested in last offseason with Christian Walker. This to me is I was even a little dubious of Christian Walker just because of the age. They've traditionally, they've paid guys that are a little bit younger. They paid Luis Castillo. They've tried to extend guys. This to me is like if he's healthy, this is the exact type of player that they will pursue. I think even especially if they go out and maybe dump a Luis Castillo contract, and try to free up a little bit there to just feel even more confident to go out and make a strong pursuit of Josh Taylor. But yeah, I think assuming health with the shoulder, he's going to be like their top tier target. That would be my guess. Again, that's just speculation, but I think it's a very, very clean fit.
Yeah. So in regard to Josh Naylor, I think he gives you everything that you need from a first base position. Like, obviously, yes, there's the shoulder concern, and I would like to know a bit more about that. However, the dude has proven already that he can hit in T-Mobile Park really, really well. 211 WRC plus, like he is literally out of his mind playing at T-Mobile Park. So there is that. Also, we've already heard, even a couple days into his tenure with the Mariners, that he's already stepped into this big leadership role basically within the team. So it's clear he gets along with the guys really well. It's clear that he's a really good leader. He is a very savvy player. He's stealing bases with like the second percentile speed right now, because that's how, and it all goes down to his baseball IQ. It's not his speed. He just knows and picks his times really well. And he created a run last night literally by doing that. So it's just one of those things where like I don't think you're going to find a guy like him like anytime soon. Like, yes, you could get a Pete Alonso whenever he opts out of his Mets contract or whatever happens with that. Sure. But at the same time, like, you are getting a guy, if you get Josh Naylor, who it feels like, almost a five-tool player in the sense of like just how well-rounded he is as a baseball player. So it's
Yeah.
hard for me not to want to get him back again. I think he fits really well with the Mariners, I think, in just about every facet right now.
Yeah, I think
So
that's a really good point. It's like he's young, he's left-handed, which plays better in T-Mobile Park. He's
Mhm.
proven over a long period of time that he can hit. He's got a long track record. He's hit at T-Mobile Park. He seems to be a fit in the clubhouse. And with this hitting staff, like, and he's at a position of great need. That's like 6 things that I just named that are like make him so perfect. So yeah, I think that's a really
Yep.
good point.
Yeah, and you never know, like in the sense of how well he's fit in, especially at T-Mobile Park. I mean, that probably is going to be very alluring to him when you're talking about contract talks, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that brings down the price at all or at all. Probably doesn't, frankly. But at the same time, like he knows he fits really well in the park. The Mariners know he fits well in the park. So it's just like you're not taking a shot on a guy like a Pete Alonso being like, oh, I hope he really fits in the park and, like he can
Yeah.
keep the production he's at. You know, he can produce for you. And like I said, if he can clean up those road numbers, which he's probably bound to at this point, and a lot of that I feel like has been a shoulder issue, or the shoulder issue keeps coming up, especially on the road. I mean, he's not going to be a 46 WRC plus on the road all through next year. Like he is going to be closer to average, probably more likely than not. So then it just makes those home numbers even better.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think he
I
also
think
saw like a lot of lefties, like randomly, weirdly,
that
I feel like there
too.
are a lot of lefties on the road too. I don't have
Yeah.
any data to that right now, but I feel like that is the case.
Mhm. Yeah, it just he feels like a totally different hitter at T-Mobile Park. He felt like it was like every time I was watching him take a road at bat, it ended with like just him rolling over to second base. Whereas like at T-Mobile Park, it feels like he's trying to launch the ball because now I think he has that confidence, like he knows he can hit it out, and it's been working really well for him. Another player that I feel like has been hitting really well recently that we'll talk about, everyone's favorite topic of the discussion, usually in the Mariners field. We're talk about Julio Rodriguez, because Julio is on a heater right now, and he has been for the entire second half. Right now in the second half, Julio is slashing 301, 332, 602 for a 161 WRC plus. He's currently ranked 13th in all of baseball in F4 at 5.1. And we've seen, especially within the last week, he's been getting those big hits. That home run in Atlanta that hit the waterfall was impressive, to say the least.
And like
On a
enormous for
line.
that game. Enormous for that game. Like had to have
Yes.
it. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So he's, starting to show that second half like swing that we are normally accustomed to seeing him have. But it just feels like it's been really helping the team to success, and obviously not on the road. We'll take that away, but in every other facet, like it's really been helping. So what do you feel like Julio having this type of heater in the second half is really meant for this club, especially fighting for their lives for a playoff spot right now?
I mean, you wanted it all the whole first half of pretty much every year of his career. But so far in his career, like this is where he makes his money. This and on the defensive side of the ball is in the second half of the year. Now I believe last year, totally different situation too because he was dealing with an ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
But he really slowed down in September last year. You'd love to see him like really catch fire and finish this year strong. I think it's super encouraging because as good as Cal Raleigh is, this offense always seems to go when Julio goes. Like when Julio goes, they score a lot of runs, and it's always been that way. And so, yeah, I think it's massive, and I think it's also worth noting. I believe like pretty much since July 1, you've seen he made some adjustments, and they're pretty noticeable. At least they've been noticeable to me. With he's flattened out his bat a little bit, and so he doesn't have that huge barrel tip. And I think it's just given him more consistency. He's been able to get to that inside pitch a little bit cleaner, and so that's been huge for him. But when he's rolling, he is as impactful as anybody in baseball at times. Like when he gets on heaters, they are ridiculous. And so, no, I think it's very, very, very important that he continues to swing the bat well. He doesn't need to be like nuclear for the rest of the year. But if he's just consistent, good Julio for the rest of the year, getting on base and obviously playing that really good defense, like it's we just need to put this narrative to bed that he's overrated and all this stuff. Like he's the 13th best F4 player in baseball. Like that's
Yeah.
freaking awesome. He's a special talent. He's doing things that over the first 4 years of a career that nobody's done. So,
Mhm.
or that very few have done. So, really, really fun baseball player and a really fun, just representative of the Seattle Mariners. It's just always so weird to me. Like I get the frustration, but it's always so weird to me, the hate that this guy receives.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and he's at 30 home runs right now. I think he's like 4 or 5, maybe 6 stolen bases away from having
yeah.
another 30-30 season. And it's like, I mean, can you really call a guy who's now, probably going to have 2 30-30 seasons overrated? I don't know if you could say that. Like,
With the
it's
lead
not like,
center field defense, yeah. Like,
yeah, because I said it, the catch he had, I don't remember which game it was. It might have been game 2 in Atlanta. Had one of the best non-diving, like home run robbery catches I think I've ever seen. Like just straight up in the sprint. I mean, I don't know how he made it, and you'll have to go look at like the clip and whatnot. I don't once again I don't remember what game it's from, but you are getting literally Gold Glove level defense. I don't know how he hasn't gotten a gold glove yet. We'll see if he gets it this year. And you're also getting at this point a bat who has been posting a 161 WRC plus for a second half is starting at the All-Star break. So it's been over a month and a half of that. It's not just like this thing that's occurred the last couple weeks. He has been a solid. He's been one of the driving forces in the Mariners for the last couple months now, along with guys like Cal Raleigh and Josh Naylor, and thankfully Eugenio Suarez is starting to get hot, and then Polo's super underrated as well
yeah,
in the season he's having. I mean, I think a lot of Polo just is a matter of like his valleys are really bad,
yeah.
but at the same time, like when he's on, he's so important when he's on. But I want to talk about a pitcher here, and I know we both are super big fans of. We got to talk about Brian Wu. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about Brian Wu. Right now, he's sitting at 175.2 innings pitched on the year, posting a 3.02 ERA, 3.62 FIP, 3.2 F4, and 20 quality starts. So Brian Wu has been having a breakout year, basically, at this point. The question, though, about Brian is where does he rank among all-time favorite Mariner pitchers for you? Because I feel like he's got to be high
Yeah.
up there at this
Yeah,
point.
that's easy. He's second. He's second, man.
Second? Okay.
Like
Felix
Felix
is first, I'm
Felix
assuming.
is forever and always my guy. Like he's my favorite baseball player of all time, and I don't think that will ever change. But Wu, since I watched him, I've told the story like a bunch of times. But I watched him throw a bullpen at spring training in 2023 with Ryan Divish, and I was like, afterwards, I was like, I love this guy. I love this guy. Like he moves like I've never seen somebody move like that. Like people don't move the way that he moves on the mound. And at that point, like I knew that he was a guy that they liked, but I didn't know like the characteristics, I guess, that would make him special. And man, he is. Oh, I could talk about him for a really long. He is so much fun to watch. It's the aesthetic for me. And this year it's been like the bulldog too. Like he's so smooth and so easy and fun to watch. And it's just like so impressive to me that he will just he throws so many strikes, which I love. He's always constantly ahead in counts. And he's just throwing fastballs, man. And hitters just I don't remember who was at the plate last night. It was a good hitter. And he's just throwing, he threw like 2 belt high fastballs in a row, like pretty much middle, and just 2 whiffs. It's like, man, like it's just so impressive. And to see like the maturation with kind of that bulldog mentality that he's gotten really fired up a couple times this year. He's taken like a little bit of like a leadership role. And I think a guy being that much fun to watch and eating. I mean, I had a tweet today because I kind of wanted to look into his innings, the amount of innings that he's thrown and eaten for this team. Since August 1st of last year, he's thrown 243 innings, 243 and a third innings. Like, that's freaking impressive from a guy that a year and a half ago, I wasn't even sure. Like, it pained me a lot to say it, but I was like, he might need to go to the bullpen or something. Like, he was just really,
Mhm.
really struggling to stay healthy, and it's hard to it was hard to watch because I liked him so much. But yeah, man, he's been so needed this year with all the inconsistencies in both health and performance for the rest of the rotation, and then the Logan Evans and the Emerson Hancock, all those guys. The fact that he's been like pretty much one of the most consistent starting pitchers in all of baseball, just 6 innings, 2 runs or less, you know, he's gonna just be so efficient night in and night out. Is It's been so much fun to watch. So yeah, second favorite Mariner pitcher of all time.
Yeah, it was funny. I had a friend who I played baseball with forever, and he this year was like hit me up during spring training. He's like, "Hey, I really want to get back into watching baseball again." He never really watched it too much, but he's like, "I really want to watch like as much baseball as I can this year." So I was like talking to him about MLB TV and all that stuff, right? But then I don't remember if he was watching a spring training game or a regular season game, but he watched a Brian Wu start. Had no idea who that was before he watched it. And I remember I saw him recently and he organically was like, "Who is that Brian Wu guy?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's
Yeah.
just like our best pitcher." And he's just like, "I love the way he throws the ball." I'm like, "You're not alone in that, bud." Like,
I love that.
there's just something about the mechanics that it's like everyone who knows baseball is like that is the cleanest like delivery I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
And
I
the
love
fact that he has a 3.02 ERA, and per Savant, if you combine his four seamer and his sinker, he is basically throwing a fastball like over 65% of the time
yeah.
in the whole season. He's thrown 1,200 fastballs this year. He's thrown 660 sinkers. And by the way, his four seamer has a 28.1% whiff rate, right? And per Baseball Savant has the best fastball in all of baseball. It's 100 percentile fastball run value. So it's just one of those things. Like, I mean, he is an alien almost. Like it
Yeah, he's
feels
awesome.
that like there's not many guys, and they're really. I mean, we already know this, right? Like there's not very many pitchers who can get by on that many fastballs and actually one not only perform well in the major leagues but frankly stay in the major leagues. Like it's
Yeah.
almost unheard of. Like I don't know, is there anyone that comes to your mind that's like somewhat similar to that?
I don't know if they're. I mean, the Mariners just throw a lot of fastballs in general,
Hmm.
typically, but like, I don't think there's anybody else in baseball that's doing this. At least not a starter. There's relievers, I'm sure, that are just
Yeah.
hucking cheese up there, but like, I just the way that he operates, and those days where like even like his changeup and the slider, like the with how much the hitters are geared up for the fastball, like those can be so aesthetically pleasing as well. Like it's been
Hmm.
such a cool development story. And then you can go. I would encourage people like if you are someone who can wax poetic about Brian Wu or just loves Brian Wu, um, go check out the Slab Lab episode with Dallas Braden on YouTube. It's Wu just kind of talking about like his development and like his mentality and stuff like that. It is fascinating. And like from a guy who just literally like could not get outs in college to what he is now is just like one of the cool things about sports. And so yeah,
Hmm.
I could talk all day about him, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's my guy.
I mean, I guess the last question I have about Brian Wu is he was picked sixth, or in the sixth round of the 2021 draft. He was 174th overall. Do you think like I mean I know the Mariners, especially in the Scott Hunter era, have like had a lot of just absolute gold that have been picked later on in the draft. Do you think he maybe comes down as like, once all is said and done? Like obviously we don't know how his career is going to end up, going forward, right? But like I mean, just off of what we're seeing now, I mean, obviously the makeup is there. It's just, do you feel like he's going to go down as maybe the biggest steal in like literally Mariners franchise history when it comes to like drafting?
Yeah, I'd have to go. I'd have to do like a deeper dive. That'd be an interesting like episode or discussion for an off season or something like that too. I'd have to look into like other guys that were drafted in other places and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's certainly possible. I mean, it's funny because Trent Blank, their director of pitching strategy, I believe is his title. Um, he just loved him. Like he just loved
And
Wu.
yeah.
He's like, I would have taken him first overall, which is so funny.
Hmm.
Like it's so funny to see what he's done now. But I think it's certainly possible. Like what an unbelievable job value wise that Scott Hunter regime has done with Wu and Miller and Cal. Like that's a third round pick to an MVP
Yeah.
candidate. Like that's not like something to just scoff at. Just the entirety of, and then obviously you got all the first rounders that they have up right now. But yeah, no, I think that'd be something really interesting to dive into. And obviously we need to see how his career pans out, which is that's what you said as well. But yeah, I think it would certainly have to be in the conversation.
Hmm. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to have him on our rotation this year. And yeah, like you said, just judging from where he was literally a year and a half ago, where he couldn't really even stay on the mound, and he's had Tommy John in the past. Like, yeah, there was like, frankly, I mean, I was never on. There used to be those debates like, do you trade Bryce Miller or do you trade Brian Wu? Like, when we're on the off season, like they need to get a bat, whatever. I always was been in the woo camp. However, I understood the opposite side of that with the health and all that. And yeah, it feels, I feel like good for a Brian Woo truther here to be like, look at what he could do. Like I feel like I was, I'm not saying Bryce Miller's bad. I'm just saying, in the sense of like, look what he turned out to be. Like it was there. I could tell. Like
Yeah,
and I think it's crazy how people who haven't even watched baseball that quickly or sorry that consistently in recent years can literally watch him pitch and be like,
yeah,
who is that dude?
yeah.
That
Thank you
was
for
so
sharing
funny.
that because that's one of my favorite stories now. That Brian Wu just made someone fall in love with pitching that maybe hasn't watched
Yeah.
baseball in a long time. It's like one of the
Yeah,
best ways to possibly ever describe that guy.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, so shout out Brian Wu. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. We're hopefully we can get the dub tonight in game 2 against the Cardinals. Hopefully the Etsy Witch spell continues on, which has been fun stuff. You can check out did an interview with the Etsy Witch buyer, came out earlier today, so you can check that on the channel. But yeah, so Ben, appreciate you so much for being on. It's always a pleasure to have you on. It's always nice to have people that are smarter than me get on here to talk about baseball. And Ben is one of the best content creators that we have out there. If you want to check out the Sea Level Substack, go ahead and subscribe to him, and check out his work. Especially Mailbag Mondays. I've been really getting into that. I know you've answered a couple of my questions recently, but those are always fun. But at the same time, like, yeah, you just check out Ben's stuff. Ben, any last words for the people who are watching at home?
No, man, just it's crazy that it was, spring training felt like it was yesterday, and we got 18 games left, and then you're gonna be wishing that it was spring training again. So like, as easy as it is to be pessimistic about the Seattle Mariners, just enjoy it. Enjoy the last 18 here, because I know when it comes November and nothing's happening, we're gonna be wishing the Mariners were back. So just try to do your best to enjoy it. That'd be my words of wisdom for the rest of the home stretch here.
I agree. Enjoy it. In November, we'll probably be watching the Mariners in the World Series, so you'll have
Of
something in
course.
November.
Yeah,
But December is when
I'm
baseball
talking
will be
late
done.
November. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it a lot. Once again, go subscribe to Ben. His link will be down below for the Sea Level Substack. This has been it for Raise the Trident. Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Like the video, subscribe as well. It helps me out a lot. But yeah, It's gonna be it for me in this one. I will see you in the next. Go M's, baby.